Alright guys, we are on Cities Skylines, a new series I'm going to be doing. I've been enjoying, when we did Banished many months ago, I enjoyed that, but it was a different version of doing these kind of city building things where you had to do survival. And you sort of have that with the economy of these type of games, but Banished was a lot different in that process because you had to keep your people alive. There's a lot of micromanaging in that process. This is going to be much more similar to SimCity. And if you've never played SimCity, this was actually the very first game that ever got me really into PC gaming. Now I played Mario and all those other games beforehand, but for me this is what it was about. So we're gonna do that here in just a second. I realize that my cursor is not showing, so let me pull that up. I know that's one of these settings. I also want to quickly talk about why I chose Cities Skylines, because eventually I do want to play SimCity, though it might not necessarily be something that's available to everybody, or I'm not sure exactly how I will go about it, but I did want to quickly talk about why I made the difference. So I am a huge SimCity fan. In fact, I love that. If I had to pick a game, it's somewhere between SimCity, Minecraft, which you already know Minecraft because I do it all the time, and Civilization. And Civilization is one of those games that I will just get thrown into the game, love it, play it all the time, and then not touch it for like 3 months at a time. And so it's just that interesting process of playing a video game and kind of jumping deep into that game. I can't find where I can capture mouse cursor. Oh, weird, it is selected. Can't see it. Alright, whatever. So SimCity is up there as my top 3 games, and the reason I didn't pick SimCity is because I know it really well. I don't know the new one, the 2013 iteration, but this is going to be a little bit different. Now, the two games are inherently the same, but have fundamental differences. SimCity, you are locked into a map, and so let's say that the map is got 12 different locations, but you are restricted in what you can build. But it does have the option of doing these specialty things like building casinos or different ores that you can pull out and try to trade with the other places. And so there's really this whole feeling of multiplayer and everything that can go well with this, whereas this game does not have that. But then it has stuff like when it gets cold outside, your electricity is actually going to go up, and you could use heated pipes to lower the cost, but those cost more. And the way you construct the roads, while similar to SimCity, is actually a lot different in how you do it. So just the visual aspect of this game is much different. So that's why I'm going to pick this. Plus you can do all these different mods over here. I don't play with the mods typically, and if I do, I won't play with it on here. So I've only played this game a couple of times, so when I jump into it, it's going to be an interesting process. You'll get to see how I go about this. There's a couple of things that we could do to keep in mind. I'm going to put 2 restrictions on myself. First, I have to use clean energy, which is a big deal because I feel like the energy process is a little bit easier in this game, because eventually all the terrible things you do to the environment you can eventually undo. So I'm going to stick with clean energy the whole time, which is going to make it a little bit harder. Wind, water, and solar. I'll count nuclear, but I'm not sure. Which means we need to pick a place. This has a nice little river through it. This has nice cliffs to it, which you can kind of make visually appealing. That's fun. But this one has this nice little break here, and I like this idea of having that. So I'm going to actually pick this one. You could do islands, you could do some of these other things that has like the sand here, which is fun too. But for now, I'm just going to play with the 2 rivers and kind of just enjoy this. So this is what I want to go for. I believe we named the place when we get in there. Is that correct? Oh no, we name it right here. The other thing I want to do is I'm one of those people that will optimize the build and try to just get the most powerful, financially best place. I'm going to put a restriction on here of thinking about how would a real city develop and what would that look like. So I'm actually going to throw in curves and all these different things that a typical city would have. I'll keep a little bit of a grid structure initially, just because I feel like I'm my own nature, I wouldn't do well with that. But once the city starts to expand, I'm going to throw in the suburbs and other things where you have to have that background going. You have to have like the curves and the cul-de-sacs that are less efficient, but actually makes a city what it is. So those are my two criteria. And then I want to name my place. I actually asked on social media what to come up with an answer for what I should name it. I'm going to pick Duckburg. If you ever watched DuckTales, there's a place called Duckburg. Now, here's some other ones that people named. I did not pick any of these. Jeremiopolis, Smithfield. You guys are pandering. I appreciate it. We've got Game Church City. We've got, what others out here? Suburbanville, Crater City, Gridtown. Some other games that have that. Prima, which is fun. Tim Baker went for Tamana City because he's a little self-absorbed like that. That's okay. Love you, Tim. And so we're gonna go with Duckburg because I like the nostalgia of that one. And so we got temperament as far as the base theme, suitable for building. We got some forest and farming, ores and oil. So we'll get a little bit of all that as we do this. But I'm going to start off as just like, let's get set up and let's just kind of play for just a little bit. So the next 15 minutes is just going to be, let's get established. The other thing I will say with this game is I don't want it to be us being held back by resources. I want to just play the game well when I'm on camera. So there will be times in between games where I'll let the play run for a little while. So you'll see the days jump dramatically between, or the years or whatever, between the different Let's Plays that we have. It's because I want the money to build up a little bit so that we're not just struggling with trying to manage. Not that that's not a problem, but we will definitely make it less of an issue as we go along. So we got our tweets up here. I'm actually going to try to... Oh, I forgot. You can't turn it off. Thank you. Those are a little annoying. I'm not going to do a tutorial of how this game is run. I'm just going to jump into it. If you're ever interested, first of all, just ask. Let me know what you think. So we got our entrance to the highway, which is absolutely vital. We've got a river over here. Those are going to be the two important things that we've got. So let's go ahead and start basic. I always keep in mind the fact that I may need to adjust and do things better in the future. So I'm going to set my roads up for that now. You see how they have these little lines here to help? I love that. And the lines on the side show how far zoning places can go. So I always incorporate that whenever I do my construction. Now, this will just mean that they can reduce traffic a little bit. That'll be nice. Over here, let's go ahead and do... I know it's not perfect. Yeah, let's just click to... I know it's a little bit at an angle. That's all right. Let's go to there. And we'll actually go this way to here. We're using a lot of money right now. That's okay. Go this way. Now I want it to line up perfectly for this initial part. Later on it won't be as important that that's the case, because no city is actually that well constructed, no matter how much we want to believe it's true. Alright, now the reason I'm not connecting this is just because it creates more gridlock. So if they want to get over here, they're going to have to go across. Perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and get residential here and here. Do some of that. And we'll get some commercial. And I realize very quick that we're going to need to bump that up a little bit. But let's just have that for now. We're going to need some power. So come over here, get some power. These puppies are awesome because you can put those in the water, and then you don't have to worry about taking up any space for anything. And then you also have a hydropower dam, which actually raises the water on the side that it's collecting, which makes it interesting because then you can flood. So let's go ahead and do this close by. The water's flowing that way. Oops, I want the pumping station because the sewer stuff will actually go downstream. So let's do... I'll eventually be able to expand stuff over here. But for now, let's go ahead and put this here. And then we need pipes from there to there to here. And I didn't put any zoning here on purpose. And then we'll go here because now we can just overlay it. And then we'll go this way because there eventually will be a road there. And then for the electricity, you just got to get it within the blue. So let's just go ahead and do this because this is commercial. And then eventually that'll expand. Let's go ahead and hit go. Already getting residential. Awesome. The fun thing about this is if you zoom in, you can see all the different builds, and it's just so beautiful. I love this. The render distance way in the back. It's so awesome. They even have fun stuff on here like walkways, and you can create your own custom roundabouts. You could do this if you wanted, but you could also create your own. In their parks, which will open up in a little bit, we'll be able to see they have walk paths and bike paths and bus paths. A lot of fun stuff. So the need for residential is huge. Let's just get in the positive. That's all I care about. They are upset. Another fun thing is that similar to SimCity, this has the need for jobs. So if there's no jobs, people don't want to move in as much. And if there's not enough employees, businesses don't want to move in. So you got to kind of balance that out. Alright, so this is working fine. Oh, that doesn't have electricity. Duh. Alright. You'll notice with the water, the sewer will eventually flow that way. We'll see that here in a little bit once it actually gets running. These are like the dumbest things sometimes. Okay, we got a little industry. Got a little commercial. Got super tiny. Yes, we can you can do districts. This is going to be fun. We won't get to that today, but that's a fun one as well. Ah, we're in the negative by 700. Come on, people. Here we go. As soon as this fills up and the demand goes, I'm just going to instantly... The best thing for me that I found is pushing residential and just getting that rocking. Love it. Now there's a ton of forestry over here for doing the whole industry. You can do farming. It's a version of the industrial process, so you can actually specialize. It's only farmland when you talk about these districts, so that's fun. No electricity. Come on, guys. Just build a little closer. Eventually I'll delete that because the blue will expand because they'll get a little closer. In fact, I can go ahead and now do this and this. this one. So now, the reason I do that is because now all these places they can go ahead and build into. And that takes away some of the zoning areas, which is unfortunate, but we'll get there. Just gotta move a little bit closer. Come on. We need to get that up. Just all these buildings. It's so cool. So beautiful. Alright, we're almost in the positive. Can't do taxes just yet. See why we're spending so much money on water, electricity, and roads. You can actually lower that. You'll see snow dump service. When it snows, it actually affects the cost of this. You repair roads, so those roads can actually go down in quality, which is interesting. I'm surprised how much residential has gone up versus this. Alright, we are officially connected. So I can delete that. There we go. You have different painting options as far as this. I'm currently using the paint all option. I don't think I have any water for you. Whoops. I hate that I'm doing this, but let's go ahead and do this for now. I would have thought residential would have like kicked butt initially. A couple other times I played it has. You'll notice it's getting nighttime. The lights are coming on, which is super cool, which means we're spending more electricity right now. And if it was cold, it would be getting a lot colder. There's a temperature somewhere right here. So the lower the temperature, the more electricity or heating the city is required to use. Alright, well, let's speed through the night. We are in the positive, which is always a good thing. The other thing we got is every time we get new milestones, we'll get new stuff. So we'll be able to get an elementary, a medical clinic, and landfill. We'll be able to do taxes, and I always bump up the taxes a little bit. When we introduce the elementary school and the clinic, things just get so good. Oh my goodness. Electricity. Ah. We don't have enough electricity. Here's where the issue of using clean energy comes into play. Let's put it as close as possible. Now because of this, we're spending a lot of money on electricity for the windmills. 6,000 each time plus 80 week upkeep. So that causes problems for us. We just have to constantly keep in check with that. I'm gonna go until we get to the next level. Get us some of this, and then I'll call it an episode. 3 more people. Easily. Perfect. So let's go ahead and put a landfill in, a medical clinic, and an elementary. We'll put that right here. If we did a road, the road would be... Oops. You can do one-way streets, which is really cool. Let's do the landfill here, because it takes up a double space right there, just like that. So let's just go ahead and do this. And then we want to do an elementary. Costs 10,000, that's not terrible. Elementaries have to be pretty prolific from my experience. So let's just do it immediately to educate the people. It's slow to get them in, but I think this is going to build demand for us. Let's go ahead and do this. That. And I think it was right. Nope. There we go. Do that. Get some of this going. I'm not going to speed ahead this one time because I want you guys to see some of the growth on camera. So when we come back, we will jump right into it. So let's go ahead and increase the taxes real quick as well. We'll increase them to 10% for everything. That is a-okay by me. And we'll pick up where we left off, guys. So I will catch you guys next episode. Thanks. Bye.